Now, okay. This won't be a challenging time because we practically went over it yesterday, but I do want you to mark up. Now, I totally get why some of you may not have paper in your printer. I totally get why you may not have lined paper. I mean, I get all that, it's difficult, but bear in mind we're well and truly back at school, kind of, so we need some stuff in front of us, and I'm sorry I can't give you a pile of lined paper from the top drawer where Lucy and Emily go and sort of dig deep and get it. I apologise for that. So write on something. If you couldn't print this out, hopefully you can do the questions anyway, because this needs to go in your folder. These are GCSE questions. We're finishing off chapter 14 right now by giving feedback. So if you're able to print off and mark up, that's what we're doing right now. Because if you looked at the, obviously you went into show my homework in order to get the link for this lesson, and you would have seen that it's entitled feedback. So here's the feedback, and we need to go over it together. If you got this right, just put one tick and a little 5 there in a box. So for example, if you're marking your work, yeah, I got that right. Let's get this pencil back on, yeah. Then go like that and give yourself a 5 there to represent grade 5. Is that all right? And then we can get an overall grade for your work. Now, this is what I did yesterday with you. I showed you why substituting -2 into this equation gives you 4. I did the same with these two as well. If you got that and that right, tick it, 1 mark or 2 marks, and that's still grade 5 because it's a quadratic graph and not y equals mx plus c. Your graph, if you got it correct, should look something like that. These points correctly plotted. If you used a ruler at any point along that curve, then there's no marks for that at all. If you plotted the points correctly, take a mark. If you got the curve half decent, take 2 marks, and that's a grade 5. All right? At any point you can stop me to ask a question. You don't need to raise your hand because I can't see you. What are the solutions to this equation cutting the line y equals 0? Well, it cuts there and it cuts there. Let me tell you why that's exactly 2. Because when y is 0, x is 2, because of that point there. So if you plotted the point 2, 0 bang on, you'd see that the line has got to pass through. Sorry, the curve has got to pass through exactly 2, 0. This one is a bit of a guessing game. My one, which is actually quite nicely drawn, is minus 1.4, each little square being 0.1 of a unit. So minus 1.4, minus 1.3, minus 1.5, it's all acceptable, and there is a mark allocated for each one. And like I said, this is a grade 5 question, so put a little 5 there so you can give yourself some feedback. Over to here then. Well, this is going to be a grade 7, I would go. So let's put a grade 7 up here somewhere so we can refer to it. These two numbers are the roots, the 2 and the 4. So that means I'm going to set up an equation like this. X minus 2, x minus 4 equals 0. All right, multiply it out. X squared minus 4x minus 2x plus 8. So we go mark, mark, mark. There's 3 marks there. And then you can see that the final equation simplified, x squared minus 6x plus 8. Guess what? The b is the 8 because that's the intercept right there. It's grade 7 for sure. You never get this in a foundation paper, and it's a bit tricky. So there you go, 4 marks if you get 8 there. This one, I looked at this and there's nothing challenging about it at all. This is not going to go above grade 5, I don't think. There you go, so that'll be a grade 5 if you got most of these right. I talked about it. Negative root, positive roots, that's the minimum points. That's me from doing it before. I didn't do that yesterday. There's a freehand drawing of the line y equals minus 6, and he's not happy because he doesn't cut through the line. He doesn't get a look in, so he's pretty sad today. A is positive because it's a positive x squared because the way the graph goes that way and not that way. So it's positive. What's the value of C? The value of C is going to be the intercept, and the intercept is right there, and that's clearly negative. The roots are one positive and one negative. Well, there's the positive one, there's the negative one. The number of solutions where y equals 6, well, y equals 6 is below y equals minus 3, no solutions whatsoever. And the equation, blah, blah, blah. What's the equation of the tangent where the line touches that graph at that point is y equals minus 3. I'm going to try and draw it in actually on my one, but not save it. So y equals minus 3, we go across there, bam, just hit you right there, and that's y equals minus 3, and that will touch at one point only, at the point 2 minus 3. Ibrahim is late. Okay, I'll have to deal with that. So that's that one. What's left? Here's a grade 6 looking thing right here. As you can see, I made mistakes when I did my sheets originally. That's going to be grade 6, maybe 7. I'm given that. I've got to work out A and B. It's just a mix and match, algebraic equivalencies. It's revisited here. Why? It happens to be a quadratic equation. First job, as Hunter said yesterday, multiply this out. So I did. If you can't see where that's coming from, obviously the first thing you should do is that. You don't have to do it in your head. There's plenty of space. And then you just do that. So x squared minus 7x plus 49, take away the a. Originally I put a plus there. I don't know, that just happens. So when you do a mix and match, now I can scribble these x squareds, well, they completely match, nothing's happening. But minus 14x is 8x, which is what I've written there, which means a must be minus 14. I think most of you saw that straight away. And then the dangly bit, it's hard to change colour on this facility. So the 49 minus a is what's left over, and that exactly equates with the b. Cool? So b is 14, take away a, and we know a is minus 14, so you have to watch that, be careful with that. So b is 49 minus 14, which is 63. 3 marks, 1 for each, and 1 for some of the work in the mixing and matching, I guess. You got that all right, it's grade 6. Now, I remember when I introduced completing the square to you, all of you in the room right now, all of you without exception, easily got grade 8. This is grade 8. Completing the square is grade 8. 3 marks for getting this. How would you show it? Well, this wants you to write that in a completed square form, and they showed you in what format it should be. X minus 4 with x minus 4 comes to, I don't know, that's a perfect square. X squared minus 8x plus 16. Well, I've got to go from plus 16 up to plus 20. So I've got to add 4 onto my perfect square, and so to complete it. Okay, so I suppose you show it that way, or just jump straight in. You're not going to guess that. You wouldn't guess a 4 there, would you? So that alone will get you 3 marks, because you get paid for what's inside your brain. B, hence show that this is always going to be positive. There are a number of ways of doing this. Here's the easiest way to do it. I've got to show that that's always positive. Now take a hint, use this, because you've worked to get that, so use it. Here's my first statement. It's only 2 marks. So here's my statement. X minus 4 squared is always going to be positive or 0. Why does she keep walking out? X squared minus 4x squared is always positive. Thank you. Or it could be 0, because if x is 4, then 4 minus 4 squared is still 0. Or it could, or if x is a positive number plus 4, now let me read that again. X minus 4 squared is always positive or 0. A positive number, add 4, or 0 add 4 will still be positive. Is that okay? So if this ends up being 0, if you add 4 onto it, and just scroll up a bit, if you add 4 onto it, then you're going to be positive. If this number is, say, a negative number, like -3, -3 minus 7 is minus 3 minus 4 is -7, -7 squared is plus 49. Well, that's positive in its own right. Add on 4, you're even more positive. So you need to reason it that way. Say 2 decent statements, and I tried to communicate that. Now remember, this can go up on video quite soon, and so you don't need to be copying stuff. If you want to grade your paper appropriately, pick the one that most reflects you. Don't give yourself a grade 8 if you got the grade 5 stuff wrong. You might want to pick yourself a 6 or a 7. You make your own judgment, because that's what I do in class. I just make an overarching judgment. Is that okay? I now need to close this off and save it. No, I'm not saving that. I'll ruin my work. So let me show you something that introduces chapter 18. It's long. It's a lot of graphs because it's called Graphs 2. So what's this? That's not the worked one. These are not my sheets. Look at that. You've got to create a table of values, which if you can print it off, please do so. Just somehow do it. Then you've got ready-made graph paper as well. It's all there. It's all there. You've got a grid for each question. So just look at this. You cube each one of these, and then take away 4. What is -4 cubed? It's -64.
Minus 64.
Yeah, because it's -4 times -4 times -4. So -4 times -4.
No, because -4 times -4 is 16, but then times that by another -4, that equals -64.
Correct. And then you take away 4, so it'll be -68. So basically, I want you to appreciate what a cubic function looks like. And like I said yesterday, the best way to do it is to actually plot it. You're going to have to plot it. So work it out. Try and do it without a machine. Obviously, the positive ones are dead easy, but negative ones can be confusing. Try and do it the long way, or use your Casio, and then plot it. That's the first one. The second one, definitely use a Casio on this, although I didn't. I did all my calculations down the side, as I remember, but there's only 4 to do, and they give you the others. X cubed minus 4x squared plus 5. That'll give you a slightly different shape. Will be more augmented. I'll show you my workings anyway. And then you plot that. It's just straight plotting. Here is x cubed plus 1. Well, that's easy. And there's a grid ready to go. Why have I chosen this question, guys? Because use your graph to find the value of y when x equals 1.5. So once you've got a lovely squiggly graph, you go to 1.5 and go up and read it, or go down and read it, depending which way it goes. That's why I've included it there. It was part of the overall worksheet. This says A, that means grade A, in other words grade 7. You're going to plot this one using this equation, and it will get boring, but there's the grid. You don't have to buy no graph, it's there, just got to print it. Use your graph to find the solutions of x cubed minus 5x equals 0. What are you looking for here?
Line where y equals 0. So
Well
the
done.
root is
Well done. Even for cubic equations, if you ever do A level, you'll be having to factorize these, will, all right? So quite soon, next term. Yeah, you plot it, it's probably go bam, bam, bam. There could even be 3 roots on this. That's why I've chosen that one. Again, grade A, they're calling it grade 7. What do you notice about minus x cubed?
just at the end.
It's also negative, and therefore that will flip the graph as a reflection of the y-axis. You'll see it if you plot it. And there it is. They give you the range of x values to put into that. Again, this is Casio work, all right? The reason I've chosen this is because it says draw a suitable line on your diagram to solve that equation. Now, we've done these in class with quadratics. So imagine I've got a squiggly graph like that, but now I want to solve that. Can somebody summon their knowledge and give me an idea of how to do that one?
You just have to find out the y coordinates for it.
Bear in mind, I've already plotted this line, yeah? This is already plotted, I've done it. Now I've got to solve this equals that. and it says by drawing a suitable line on your diagram. They mean a straight line, because that's a straight line. So what graph do I want to plot?
Straight line graphs.
Good. And what's the equation of a straight line graph?
Y equals x minus 2.
Well done. Y equals x minus 2. Very, very easy. And that'll give you a straight line, and it might cut it in one place, 2 places, 3 places. Depends on the gradient where it cuts through that graph. Then it gets even more tricky. Plot this one, and there's not even a table to help you, so this is definitely Casio work, and use the space. And I would have chosen that for a reason. By drawing a suitable line on your diagram, solve the equation, boom, equals 0. Watch out, because it's different to that. Watch out, because it's different to that. And then it gets even more tricky. Let me show you my solutions anyway, to give you an idea how these graphs will look. Because you're going to need to do this for next Tuesday, because wrong one. You're going to need to do this for next Tuesday. That one? Yeah, that one. So this was my homework that I did. Let's go to the top. Again, all mistakes are shown. Yeah, I did this the long way. Yeah? X cubed minus 4. I did it all down the side. That's what a cubic graph looks like. Let me shrink it just a little bit more so you can see it all. That's what a cubic curve looks like. It's that kind of shape, all right? It doesn't go up then down, doesn't go down then up, it's that, okay? Yours should look like that. This is the next question. Do you see the 4x squared right there? Mm-hmm. Let's make it bigger. And no, leave it like that. Look what it's done to the shape. It's given it 2 humps. Bam, bam, bam. But it's still this squiggly, beautiful S shape. It's there. Yours will look like that. Next one. X cubed plus 1. Well, that's easy. That's just an x cubed graph. Add on 1. The intercept is 0, 1, not 0, 0. And again, I chose it y because use your graph to find the value of y when x equals 1.5. Oh, okay, go along to 1.5. Let's make it bigger now. I'm not going to show you everything. It's boring. Go along to 1.5, hit the curve, turn left. So when x equals 1.5, the solution is y equals 5. Done. Yeah, I definitely did do this the long way without a calculator. But anyway, Casio it if you want to. If you were to plot that accurately, you will get this. Up, down, and round again. And the English says, use your graph to find the solutions of x cubed minus 5x equals 0. Oh, and as Hamza told us, you just want to find where the graph crosses y equals 0. Well, I'm pointing to that point there, I'm pointing to that point there, and I'm pointing to that point there. Well, that's definitely 0. That looks like 2.2, and that looks like what, roughly? Go bigger? Yeah, if you're going to be completely honest, it's minus 2.1. But that one there and that one there should be opposites, equal amounts, 2.1 or 2.2, but they've got to be the same because it passes through 0, 0, and the graph isn't shifted left or right. All right, so if you make that minus 2.1, that should be 2.1. But of course, we're not drawing machines. We are, drawing freehand as best we can. And I want to stop doing this because I want to give you an opportunity to go further and do your own stuff. Oh, here we are. There, Hamza. There's the line y equals 2. It does, in fact, cut in 3 places. All right, it's an ugly looking graph, the other one. It's a negative x cubed graph. Why? I said, what do you notice there? And you said it's at the end. It's more than just at the end. It's a negative x cubed graph. And you see, instead of getting a graph that does that, it does that because it's negative. All right, and I've got to stop because I've said enough. I will upload it as a genuine homework somehow.